Mm. Hello guys, it's Evil Kanoa here, or 12323OP. I'm going to be starting a new series on developing Bukkit plugins. Now my plan for this series is to make it very basic, so if you're new to programming you can start it. Now if you're not new to programming and you have experience with other languages other than Java, then it might be a bit easier, and if you know Java it will make it even easier. For example, I knew very basic Java when I started it, and I also had a good knowledge of other programming languages, which did make it a bit easier to start. So right now this episode is just going to be going over the basics. We're just going to get programs installed to work on it and get all that set up. And after that, the next one will be going over a Hello World program. The way I plan on doing this is we're going to have projects that we work on, but each one we're going to go very in-depth about each thing we do so that we can understand exactly how each thing is done. So to start this, what you need is IDE, which is basically it allows you to, well, it's an integrated development environment. So it's for programming. It will allow you to develop stuff. For Java, I suggest Eclipse. I actually don't know how to program Bukkit plugins with other ones. It can't be too hard. You can probably find a tutorial or something. On a later date, I might make one for another one. So to get Eclipse, you just go to eclipse.org, which I'll also put a link in the description. Click on downloads. So if you go to just eclipse.org, it's this page. You can go to downloads. You see they have quite a few downloads. You're going to go to Eclipse IDE for Java developers. See, as I said, integrated development environment. I'm pretty sure Eclipse Classic also works, but I'm going to be teaching IDE. And you will download the 32 or 64-bit based on your system. Now, as I said before, this is going to be a very in-depth tutorial, so I'm going to show you how to check your system. Now, if you're on a Mac, this will be a bit different. If you guys want, I have access to a Mac, so I can make a tutorial for it. But if not, you can use Google, and that should help you out, basically. So to check which one it is, you go to the Start menu on Windows. You right-click on Computer, and you go to Properties. This should work on any version of Windows from, I think, 2000 to 8, or 7 at least. I don't know about 8. 8's really iffy. And here it will look different if you're on 2000 or XP, but you will see something that's similar to system type, and it will either say 64-bit operating system, 32-bit operating system, x86, or it won't say anything at all. Now, everything except 64-bit means you're on 32. So if it doesn't say anything, you're on 32. If it says x86, you're on 32-bit. So this says 64, then you're on 64-bit. So I'm actually on a 64-bit, but I have a 32-bit operating system installed, so it's kind of weird. So, but you can check that and then download it. So for me, I would obviously download the 32-bit version. Click the download. You download whichever one is, I don't know, the mirror that's closest to you. Start the download, and when you get downloaded, I'll pull up the page, will be in your downloads folder. Let me just go find it. So find it. It will download itself into a zip file, which you can then open. Here it is. Or if you don't have WinRAR or WinZip or whatever other programs, I think JZip, 7zip, those ones, it will just open a folder. It will have one folder in it, which will say Eclipse, and this folder will have all your files. So now if you haven't used much computer programming or anything, this will seem a little more complicated to install this to you, but what you go to is you go to Computer. You will have your hard drives here, or hard disk. You go to your local disk or your C disk, open that up, you go to Program Files, and then you can just drag and drop Eclipse in here. I've already installed it, as you can see right here. And then once you get that, you can just make a shortcut of this, which you do from right-click and send to Desktop, which creates a shortcut, or you can just start it from here, or, yeah, I think that's all the only options. It might be more. So that's how you do that, and that will install it. So you just have to extract it to the location. Now, you don't have to put in your program files, but it makes sense since that's where the rest of them go. So once it's on your desktop, do I even have a shortcut on my desktop? One sec. I'm sorry. So if we send this to our desktop, see, we'll add a shortcut right here. We have Eclipse downloaded, so I'll put that right there. Now, the next thing I suggest, again, this is an optional download, not required, is Notepad++. Now, a lot of people might already have this. If you've ever done any program before, you should know that you should never ever program in Windows Notepad or WordPad. It just doesn't work out well. You want something on Mac. If you want something, the equivalent of this is Text Wrangler. I think that's how it's pronounced. I use that on Mac. I use Notepad++ on Windows. They're quite similar. Both are amazing and free. I'm not sure if Text Wrangler might have a pro version or something, but I know Notepad++ is. So you go to notepadplus.org. Again, link in description. If we go here, we go to downloads on the left. Downloads on the left. Why the fuck isn't that working? Oh, okay. Pardon my language. You're going to want to download the installer. Or the rest of these are a little more complicated. Again, just click on installer and it will start the download. So I've already downloaded that. It's an installer. You start it up, it installs. It's not complicated. Notepad++ is, let me just close this, some old stuff I was working on. It's just a more programmy-ish. It's basically like Microsoft Word except for programmers. Not quite that integrated, but it's useful for when you're adding other stuff, because Eclipse is useful for Java and stuff, but config files and the such, which if you've used plugins before, you know you have them, have .yml files or YAML, and those are much easier to use in here. Now, before we get started, I'd like to go to something here. Can you click on language? I'm sorry, that's not what we go to. Preferences, and then we go to language menu tab settings, and tab settings, make sure it's set to replace by space, and that can be set to 4 or 2. I suggest 4. This just, otherwise if it's not, you'll get errors, and when we do get into the program, I will set the errors. Again, Notepad++ is completely optional, so you don't need it, but I would highly recommend it. So last thing we need is, we're developing for Bukkit. So we're going to need Bukkit to develop with. So you can go to dl.bukkit.org, or I'm pretty sure you can, there's quite a few sites you can actually get it from. And I suggest this, it makes it easier. So you're going to go to this site, and here you're going to download it. Now, they normally have their recommended build and beta build, and if you go to alternate versions, they'll have all the downloads, which, trust me, it'll get confusing. So turns out the recommended build right now is actually newer than their old beta build. So I'd suggest getting recommended build unless you know what you're doing. You just download that. This is the server software. So if you are planning on running the server on your computer, you should already have this downloaded. If you plan on running a server on a different version than the newest, or whichever one this is made for, then you're going to have to go to alternate versions and find a version. It shouldn't be too hard. Okay, so I'm going to show this in folder. That's weird. Did I click the wrong button? Okay, here we are. So it'll just be under your downloads. It's Craft Bukkit, so it's the Bukkit thing. So once we have that downloaded, you can throw that in a folder. Make a new folder. Name it Bukkit tutorial. Oh crap. Oriole, and then I'll go grab that and we'll throw that there. Sorry, second monitor. If we go down to Craft Bukkit 1.4, we can just drag and drop that over here. So now that we have that downloaded, what we can do is we can open Eclipse. Now I've already used Eclipse, so mine has already been opened. It will ask you where to save your workspace. We'll give you a default location, which will probably be in your like your home folder, or mine is Kanoa since that's my account name. It will probably be in there, and that's where I have mine saved. You could save it in whatever folder you use for Bukkit development too. So now that we're in here, ignore the code. You won't see any. It will just be completely blank when you first log in. Nothing over here. You're going to have to make a new package or new plugin. We'll get into that on the next tutorial. But right now, we will need this. Otherwise, you will get errors because it doesn't know what anything Minecraft related is because you haven't imported it. It just knows basic Java stuff. So, and everything up here, it's configurable. You can look up Eclipse tutorials if you want to know more about that. So I will open it up and then go over the interface, I guess, quickly. So, and then that'll be the end of the first tutorial, which is basically we have is just installing the stuff so we can start developing. So this is where you'll have your plugins. All my plugins are here. Everything's inside of them. And then this is the work area. So if I was to open a plugin, let me just see. You can drag files over here. This is what a YML file looks like. It's all black text. So I'll show you how to do this easier later. But when we open that with Notepad++, it actually gives us all the edit options, the colors, the formatting. Makes it look nice and a lot easier. And you also will notice much quicker when you have errors if you do it here. So other than that, though, the Java files, Java files here do look perfectly fine, and it's not that bad. Again, if you want, you can always open these with Notepad++. I'll show you again how to do that, which it does make it look a little better if we go full screen. So that's that. But that's all for now. So thanks for watching. If you like this, please subscribe, leave a like, favorite, comment, whatever you want. And yeah, I'm out. See ya.